Okay, this video is going to be about making ATV trails. The purpose of our ATV trails were for getting access to wood, just recreational use on the property, and just for some fun. We've been wanting to make these trails for a long time. It's kind of like the railroad. I started at one end of the property, and then I started at the opposite end and thought I would eventually join them together. 5 years later, they were never joined together. So recently we had some of my friends and my nephew were like, hey, one of my best friends was like, let's get this thing done, So combination of manual labor, using tractors to just plow through some of these trees, chainsawing, and just pulling stuff out by hand and clearing away by hand made the trails pretty complete. We still have a ways to go to finish it, but I mean, it's joined together now. Yeah, the trail was kind of like the railroad. I started at one end, then at the other, and eventually we were going to join together. It just took a lot longer to get this finished. Where we did join together, there's a spring-fed creek in the property, and it's not very big, but it's the trailhead drops about 3 feet down, and it's a year-round creek, so I didn't want to disturb it, and animals cross there, so I wanted to keep the integrity of it, and that's actually where we finished this trail. The majority of our trails, we just cut them down with the brush hog initially, and then maintain them with the lawnmower. We do that year-round. The woods was this, like I said, that's what this video is more about, the wood section of it. We've got a good section of forest on our property, or just, I wouldn't consider it heavy forest, but it's a lot of just various type of trees. Unfortunately, a lot of buckthorn, so that's majority of what we ended up removing. We, ripped it out, pushed it out, chopped it out. Buckthorn, if you cut it, it ends up, you'll cut one and 6 of them will pop up. So there is some chemical treatments you can do. We have bees in the property, so we try not to use chemicals. So I've been just pulling them out, and it seems to be working. This section, it's maintained very well. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and like I said, the trail is, it's so much fun now. If you have property and you've been thinking about doing a trail, highly recommend it. And like I've stated before, things to do, you want to mark and identify the trail. So if you're in the dark, first time I went through the trail in the dark, it was kind of hard to see. So now I have reflective markers. You want to do turnaround points, because if you have a trailer on board, I don't have power steering. This is like literally the cheapest UTV you can get. So it doesn't have power steering. And currently I've got a fractured rib, and it is hard to turn the wheel and get around in this wood. So it's nice to have turnaround points that are fairly big, because the turning radius on this is not very good. Smaller ATVs can get around a lot better. So I did make some turnaround points, because I mean, sometimes you only want to go into half of the woods and get some wood and turn around and come back, and you don't want to have to drive the whole distance, because you just want to get back in time. So that's another good thing. And then just have fun with it. We tried to follow the path of least resistance without having to cut as many trees, and it's kind of the way if you find an animal trail, that's the way to do it, and that's what we ended up doing. So I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. Thanks. A couple days ago, this bridge wasn't even here. The trail pretty much ended right here that I had through my woods. I'm not going to go into detail on the creation of this bridge. Lots of videos on making bridges. This bridge, believe it or not, all the wood was free. It was donated, thrown away. The beams are from a barn that was torn down, so the ends are actually still pretty rough cut or broken, and they're different lengths. They're not cut to size. I tried pulling out all the nails and everything in them, and for every 10 nails that I pulled out, there were still 5 stuck in it. I chainsaw a chunk off of it. I hit multiple nails and whatever in there, so just gave up on that idea. We're gonna fill the ends in with dirt, and then like I said, right now I'm going to add a center brace to this bridge. The span on it is 15 feet. It doesn't look that big, but it's 15, I think it's actually 14 feet, sorry. But like I said, pretty decent. I mean, you got some trees. I still got to trim this one. This creek is year-round, spring-fed creek. I still got to oil this deck on here, but well worth it. Like I said, you will see in the video, like I said, a lot of the smaller, in this area we've got a lot of invasive buckthorn, so I use a tractor to just push it out of the way. Literally just rip them out. the winch on the UTV to rip some of them out. Some of them just ripped out by hand. Try not to cut down any trees if I didn't have to. A lot of trees fell on their own, so we ended up moving those over. Main purpose for this UTV trail, ATV trail, is access to get in here for firewood. I've got so many trees that are just knocked over in this woods, and this, you know, we've never really gotten to use the full potential of this woods. So it's kind of a neat thing. So yeah. Little fun with our trail, I did add some signage out here. It's all my property, so you know, gotta have some fun. Did add some trail markers. That's one of the things I want to talk over too. Do-it-yourself trail markers. I was gonna buy some cool ones, you know, a couple dollars a piece, $3 a piece. I ended up going to Tractor Supply, bought a roll of these strips. I think it was like 4 strips for $8 of reflective tractor tape. And then I just ended up cutting them up in pieces, and then I had some extra roof tin, cut those up into little squares, and then just stuck some of the pieces of that reflective tape onto there, and then just screwed them into some of the trees, dead trees or whatever, live trees. Because we originally used, to mark the trail before we started trailblazing, that temporary orange marking paint. So this is one of the markers that I made. It's just it was originally a piece of buckthorn that I cut and marked with some temporary paint. That orange is going to wash away, and then I've got that piece of white roof tin with that reflector on there, so it should actually work pretty good. Like I said, if you've got some property and have been thinking about doing the trail, you should just, like I said, get some friends and family and go do it. I've been wanting this trail finished. It's kind of like the railroad. I started at one end and started at the other end and had been working my way, and years had gone by and I made such little progress. And like I said, my one of my best friends and my nephew came by and they're like, hey, let's get this thing done. Let's just crank this sucker out. And within 3 days we did more work than we did in a couple of years. I mean, it was pretty fun, but we had a good time, you know, and well worth it. So, and I've used the trail quite a bit. I mean, I love the trail now. It's always one of those things. We had the woods, it was so thick, you know, bushwhacking through there. And now it's like man, I could just take, like right now, I'm like, I don't have to, you know, especially in the summertime when the ticks are out, I can just, you know, there's enough, it's just nice. You end up using your property a lot more. And yeah, so hope you enjoyed. Thanks. Okay, you make these trails, one of the things you got to be prepared for is coming around the corner here. It's usually kind of a fast corner because it's pretty well cleared out, and as I came around the corner I had to hit the, you don't really hit the brakes on the Polaris, but you gotta let off the gas and came to a stop. One of the things you always got to be prepared for on trails when you make them through the woods is things blocking your trail. Unfortunately I've got a cracked rib that I'm nursing, otherwise right now I'm going to actually just turn around because I've got a chainsaw and some stuff on board. This I could actually, the debris I could just lift. It's just a little painful right now, but it's kind of interesting. One of those things you don't expect. And that's why I said at nighttime, it's a good thing to have good markers on your trail and also good lights. But yeah, looking at this, it looks like the wind or whatever, a tree cracked, a dead tree, and it just broke down a bunch of debris and whatever and just blocked the trail. And like I said, I think I'm a little crooked here, but like I said, it's not a lot of big stuff and dead stuff, but I mean, it's more than I'm willing to move right now myself.